just write one sometimes.
Well, I put an alarm on my phone. It didn't ring until I got here. And I went, I'm thinking that's not the right time to set it for.
I don't know if I put it in my phone, because I got a new phone, and I don't think my calendar switched over, so. I'm here.
I get you.
I might have driven a little fast. See?
Well, you made it.
I made it, right?
We could bail you out if you were 50.
Right.
Since Liz isn't here, call the, I believe I'm next to mine, right?
I would think so.
Okay. Call the meeting to order. First is the public hearing for Chad and Bridget Tweeten, the variance request for a garage. Okay, it's public hearing. Do we have any comments from the audience? Any concerns?
You're just here for the air conditioning, right? All right.
I got a question, I guess.
Yes.
Apparently from avenues to streets, there's two different setback numbers, or not?
Streets are 66 feet, avenues are 80 feet.
Okay.
At least in the, older section of town, That's, I think they're all 66 once you get, past how it works, but, yeah.
We're fine.
Okay. Yeah, usually nobody shows up.
But I don't mind the support.
I know, I like it.
Nice
Yeah, I
to
like
know
that,
that,
yeah,
yeah. Yes.
Exactly. Okay, were there any, did you get
Any letters,
letters or
phone
phone
calls?
calls or anything? Okay. With that, we will close the public hearing for the variance request. So, now the variance request was, just get fresh in everybody's mind, is, so, you're looking to build right at the lot line, correct? So you would want a 25-foot variance.
Yep.
Does everybody understand that?
Yep.
The variance is how much you're going to be.
Back from
Right.
the
Well,
road?
Well,
No, from where we,
the setback is how much you're taking off the setback.
Okay.
If they were going to be, if they wanted a 5-foot variance, it'd be 5 foot into the setback. 25 is 25 feet into the.
Oh, okay.
So basically, it's at the lot line.
Okay.
So, and I went up and I looked with Chad and we saw exactly where it was. And the hardship for the variance is because they have such a slope there, so it definitely meets the requirements for the variance. So with that being said, are there any questions or anything on the variance?
you need a motion or
You
something.
need a motion?
I still move.
I was second.
Okay, so we have a motion to grant a 25-foot variance for their garage. Okay. Any further discussion on that? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so it passes, so it has to go to the city commission meeting tonight, because this is just a recommendation board to the city commission.
Do we attend the city commission?
You sure can if you want to. It's very, very, very rare that the city would say no to a, to a recommendation that this board does, so.
Yeah.
And it's entirely up to you if you want to come.
But once after that, then we're good to go?
Right. Then you'd have to get a building permit and stuff like that.
We don't have that yet?
No, I'll finish it up after they pass it.
You have all the apps and stuff, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so, okay, so we're good here. So,
All right.
yeah, and the city commission's at 6:39 if you want to attend. Yeah,
Thank
you
you,
bet.
yes.
Okay, next on the agenda is discussion of the change to ordinance 117. I saw what Carol had wrote up. I wrote up something myself.
Oh, okay.
Did you get that? Oh, you right, okay.
And now, correct me if I'm wrong. I see Carol's version was,
I was just trying to
everything,
sandwich everything into what it currently says.
but everything was going to the planning and zoning commission.
Yep.
And I thought we had decided that these ones were just gonna go to the, what it was listed as.
What do you mean what it was listed as? The
Um,
little mini,
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
because that's
that-
what I couldn't remember
I-
in the email, is what we decided to do with that mini thing.
Right, and
Yeah.
I think, my understanding was that, when I read Carol's, there was a lot that changed. And my understanding was that we were just gonna sort of flip the joining of the lots into the rules that we already follow. And that's, it looks like that's more what it should still, the procedure stays the same that's
Right.
already written.
But basically, the only thing I really added to it was, I mean, I added a lot merger, obviously, and then I put, the lots are zoned the same and in the same plat edition, which I think Kevin had. And then what I had too was, or I guess what it did, it went from, you know, it would be reviewed, but, it's what was in there, you know, the chair of the planning and zoning commission, city commission president, and the court administrator. And then I added, upon completion, this board may approve, modify, or deny. And I added, or refer the application to the full planning and zoning commission.
Okay. The only thing I see different is really the lots need to be adjoining and frontally contiguous. Is that just a self-understood concept that it has to be adjoining if you're gonna merge them?
Well,
And it
do they-
could be like butt to butt rather than frontally contiguous?
well, I'm thinking they can,
Because there's usually an alley between there.
but not always.
Yeah.
Because like Jacobson's thing, which he just did on his own, he went front to back,
Okay.
but we have no ordinance saying anything.
Okay. And we're thinking front to back is not a problem?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's a problem. I mean, you look at like Elaine Carr's down there, she had like 3 lots that don't abut any road. So, you know, it's,
Okay. So,
but this is only for 2 lots, you know, it's not like.
Yeah.
but,
and maybe by definition, if you're going to try and merge 2 lots, they have to be adjoining.
Well, they'd have to be adjoining lots.
Yeah.
I mean, not necessarily, they'd have to be adjoining, but not
Right, not
necessarily
necessarily
frontally.
yeah.
But-
Right.
So adjoining is part of the definition, so we don't have to actually state that in a condition, because,
Because it's understood that you couldn't join, you know, one end to the other.
Well, yeah, you
end of
couldn't
the-
do it 'cause they're not
right.
touching. Right?
It wouldn't, I don't know, could you?
you know, like,
Could you give them the same parcel number?
you're on one corner and
I
another.
don't know how you could.
I don't think you could have parcel numbers on the opposite ends of the block. Like, I think, it becomes a parcel, and there's no way to make that be, if they're not connected somehow, there's no way to make that. They're not touching each other. In some way. So I think that's understood in the definition of,
Well, and if we're wondering about it, we can just stick adjoining in condition D. If the lots are
Well,
zoned
yeah.
the same, adjoining, and in the same plat edition.
Right, yeah. Zone the same, comma, adjoining.
We don't care about frontally contiguous.
right,
Right,
But adjoining would at least eliminate us trying to,
exactly. As
Mhm.
that person that it isn't understood in their
yeah,
mind.
well,
joining and in the, yeah, that makes sense.
okay.
And yeah, I think there needs to be a fee for it because, you know, Randy has a lot of work to do when they do that. You know, they have to go through all these tax records and all that stuff. I don't know, you know.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
the only thing about the mini group that worries me is that right now, the president of the city commission is on the zoning board, so that's convenient, but the president of the city commission may not be the commission's representative on this board
That's okay.
always.
That's okay,
So you just find him and drag him in?
yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
what if it's not you and it's somebody else?
Yeah.
Or, you know
I mean,
what I'm saying?
yeah,
If
yeah.
they can-
Yeah, well, I'm
Could be
just
somebody-
saying, okay, so if the mayor is someone who doesn't work with the planning and zoning board. It's just a case of when you're gonna have this little meeting, you would have to go get that person and have them attend.
Right. I mean, that, that's the way it's written now.
Yeah.
So, and I guess isn't the idea is to try and
Change it up a little.
take some of the, but take some of the hoopla, business
Right,
stuff.
right, that was the goal was
Yeah.
to make it a little more, so if we're
Consistent-
still doing this so that we have a meeting.
Consistent and less hoopla.
Yeah.
Let's put that down as our goal. We want to be consistent with less hoopla. Okay.
So,
Okay, so that makes sense. It won't have to go to the commission, but it will require that whoever is sitting in the mayor's seat
well,
be part of the decision.
right, right, and this is like probably one of the only things that doesn't have to go before the city
Yeah,
commission.
I think it's the only thing in our
Because everything else has to be a recommendation.
ordinance, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
I'm fine with that, if you're fine with that. but
I'm
I
fine
just-
with that, I don't know. Rainey, does that work?
I mean, as far as how you revert,
Yeah.
Good.
But then, we have to address replats, because if it's more than 2 lots, it would be a replat, I'm guessing. So we need to come
Right,
up
so
with
it
something
doesn't
on
go,
that.
it doesn't go in the section with this necessarily.
Right, and a replat, I mean, if you go to the definition, is, and that's the only place it's mentioned, means a change in an approved or recorded plat requiring changes in street layout, lot lines, or blocks. So, if you're,
Are we changing lot lines, or are we just,
well,
we kind of sort of are? It depends on if we're using the word lots or parcels, I guess. If we're thinking of it as a parcel, we'd be okay, but if we're thinking of it as a lot
a
joining,
lot
then we're moving
means
a lot
a
line.
piece, parcel, or area of land established by survey, plat, or deed, which meets the yard requirements of this ordinance. So it pretty much fits.
And isn't that the only reason that this little section exists at all, is that you may be exempt from the platting or replatting requirements if it meets this,
Right,
but we
Right.
don't have any place where there's replatting requirements, actually.
right, exactly.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
it was apparently just overlooked.
Or maybe it's the same as platting.
Platting is pretty late drawn out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You've got preliminary plat, you've got
Yeah.
all this other crap you got.
And if you have to replat, maybe that is the process, it's drawn out and extensive. What's an example of somebody replatting?
what Sweetens just did,
Right,
Okay,
because they had 2 different subdivisions.
that's right, it didn't fit these. Okay. So let's
And
try
then
and
also
apply it to
another one would
that.
have been Pyre, he split more than 2 lots, so he split it into 3 or 4.
right, 3, yeah, right. So,
So that had a preliminary, we had to look at it, that whole, I mean, not that this whole board really looked at it, but we had to,
I think we
review
did.
it in the office.
Didn't we
Yeah.
have to do a public hearing too?
yes, oh yeah.
But he
So-
didn't have his pre-plat, I don't think he had that plat, surveyor plat created for you guys at that time.
That's right,
I think he just drew it out what he was going to do,
okay.
right?
Right,
Well, we had one
We had a drawing, but I don't know that
Yeah,
it
he
was
brought it
a surveyor's
preliminary
drawing or not.
thing,
Okay.
yeah. I felt like every meeting we had with him, we started over and it was new stuff. So we didn't ever talk about that first preliminary plat.
yeah.
Okay, so just to,
Yeah,
let's look at just Tweetins, which we just approved. Okay, so what would we want the process to be for that? Are we comfortable with the process that we had to follow this time? Do we think do we make that process up as we went along because it wasn't actually in the ordinance?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of what we had done before,
okay,
like Elaine down there.
yeah.
So we follow the platting piece.
Did you follow it plating piece for a replat?
Sorry?
What would you want to do different from that plating piece ordinance?
I don't know. I don't know.
Is there something you want to carve out?
You know, and maybe not, it's just that not everything would apply, you know, and, you know, if you're gonna really replat like Pyre did, you know, you know, parcels of land intended to be dedicated or reserved for public use or such like. Obviously, we don't need that, you know.
When Pies did theirs, I did a full section through the surveying.
Oh, you did?
So they follow all of these.
Okay.
So like you said, some of it did pertain, so they didn't have to worry.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
right.
Because I went
Okay.
through it with them.
Okay, so, yeah, so maybe this is it then, maybe that's what we need to do.
And it does refer into the existing conditions, says that the lot split is not part of a continuing practice of lot splitting for a particular area to
Right.
circumvent. And it references plating or replatting,
It does. Yeah.
but then it doesn't actually reference replatting in any of the previous requirements. So I guess they're just assuming that, well, if you're replatting, you go back and follow
Basically
all the
platting.
platting. Right.
So you're plating over again.
You would follow
the
the
whole
thing.
Kind of makes sense to me unless there's a particular area in there that's going to trouble.
You know, and yeah, I think, right, I think that this would apply. I mean, the thing is, you're not doing a whole class, but you are doing a class,
Yeah.
you know.
And so any of these requirements, you would have to
Yeah.
make sure that they
Okay, the
were.
recreational one that you just read, read that to me again. What the recreational areas that you have to set aside.
Parcels of land intended to be dedicated or reserved for public use or set aside for the use of property owners within the subdivision. It just shall include the data and information.
Oh,
on that.
okay. It doesn't say you have to have a recreational area.
No.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
just, if there are parcels of land intended, you would have to
Okay, that makes
make
sense.
sure that's referenced.
Yeah. I think so. I think, yeah.
So then I think our steps are
I
okay.
think we're okay.
I mean, you might be able to make a case and say, well, if it's 3 lots and not 2, why does it then require a
That's what the ordinance says.
public, yeah, well, yeah,
Right.
and you have to have a mark at some point where you say,
Well, yeah.
we're going to give you an exception if it's only this small two lot
Right.
joining thing. But if
Right.
it's more than that, then we got to do the whole thing.
Right, which I think is right.
That seems fair.
Yeah, I think that's fair too. All right. Anything else that needs to be changed?
I think if we got the word adjoining in there, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that sound good, Rainey, or? Okay, what about like the fee then? You know, this has to go before the city commission, you know, and then it has to be, you know, it has to, like an ordinance change has to go through readings and all that crap, and,
So is there anything else you would, is there anything else you want to change? Because you should change it now.
On that same sheet that says how much the fees are?
Well, I'm just saying that in the
Oh, in the
ordinance,
ordinance?
if there's anything else that you have any desire, I mean, now would be
There's
the time
nothing
to
else
change it.
that I can think of that's given us more headaches.
Right, and we had discussed just adding it, having it lot
Right.
splitting.
I think
Similar
so.
to, we just smushed it in with it in the ordinances, we might as well
Mhm.
smush it in with
so
the
yeah, I would
fees.
say lot splitting, a lot merger application.
Would be the same application.
Yeah, it's like $200, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Simple, direct,
You
and
know,
not
the
convoluted.
thing is though, you know, plat subdivisions are $500.
Right.
We should almost have like a replat.
Be like half of that.
Yeah. Because, you know, if
Yeah,
you
that's
do
a
a
lot.
complete plat, $500, I mean, that's,
That would be the amount of work that it would take us to do like a whole subdivision or,
we should probably have like a replat.
yeah, 'cause we don't want to come up with a sliding scale based on number of square feet.
No.
That'd be fun,
We
really.
already
Oh my
have
gosh.
building permits, and that's like, ugh.
I
Yeah.
know.
What do you think would be good for a replat?
Well, how much is a lot split?
200.
$250? Randy, what do you think is a good price?
So the fee is only listed on this form,
Right.
so it's not like you're changing this ordinance.
Right. It
Yeah,
just says
but
there's
you have
a
to-
fee, but the form is the only thing, so that you don't have to change the ordinance every time you have a change in fee schedule.
Yeah.
I don't actually know how you change the fee schedule. Not
Oh,
in the
it goes
ordinance.
before the city.
Yeah,
and
so
it
it's
goes
just
to- But I think there should be a replat fee, you know, because it's not the complete plat and submission, you know what I mean?
so you want it to say lot splitting, lot merging, replat.
Well, I'm
On- I
thinking
mean-
lot splitting, lot merging is $200, and then the
Okay.
replat, I'm thinking, since it's gonna actually be more parcels, it should be a little more.
Okay, and the.
So the lot splitting, lot merger would apply when it's just the two that falls in. Anything beyond that would be the 250.
Right, you know, providing it's not a whole complete.
Yeah.
Exactly, right.
It's a
And then
replat.
that's already,
Right,
That's already, so between the 200 and the 5 somewhere is where you want to land, right?
I would say 250, I don't know, what do you
Looks
think
to
of
me.
that, Randy?
I mean, you have to take the same thing out in the paper and,
Yeah, so we'll just put down 250 then for the replat. And then if anybody says, well, where's the replat? Well, it's basically the same as the plat, but it's on a smaller scale.
right.
yeah. It doesn't require starting from scratch.
Right. Mhm.
So if we add adjoining to this and we'd be good to go, and then it has to go to the city commission. If they say, how much is the fee, we now know, so life is good.
Well, it's probably gonna take a little time to, because we're gonna have to present it to the commissioners before we actually do the first reading on this, correct? And then, so like the next meeting could be the first
Could be the first reading.
reading of it, and then it has to go in the paper, and then the second reading, it could be a passage, so.
That gives Liz time to look at it too and hunt us down if she,
Oh, yeah, and that would give us a little time to, well, the next meeting is tonight, obviously, but then the next meeting would be on the 5th, so we got like, yeah.
commission meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we would have like like 2 weeks before,
But
in
Randy,
case there was something else we wanted to change.
Okay.
I can't think of anything else that beat us in the head, but
Well, I'm sure there's a ton of stuff, but.
We just haven't, right.
Right.
This is the one that's been
yeah.
Right,
This is the one that's been painful and
recurring,
inconsistent, so.
yeah.
yeah.
Did you say you had do we need to?
Do we need a
move the-
motion or anything?
I imagine, yes.
I move we accept Larry's definition with the addition of the word adjoining in condition D.
Mhm.
How's that for a motion?
And then you talk about the fees also. Can you put that in there too?
I don't know, it's not in the thing.
Yeah, but it's part of the
And that
fees.
we adjust the building permit application
No,
to reflect,
planning and zoning application.
planning and zoning application, to reflect a $250 fee for a replat, and the $200 fee would apply to lot splitting and joining
Perfect.
of 2 lots.
Perfect.
I will second that.
Randy's going, yeah, I wrote that down,
Okay,
sorta.
I'm trying to get it all down, okay.
Even if you word it just a hair different.
Yeah,
on the
it'll be
same-
a hair different, but
That,
it'll be
there
the
will not be as many uhs and corrections in the middle of it, I'd appreciate that.
And I have that stuff written on here, so.
Yeah.
that's fine, so.
Okay,
All right, any other discussion on that?
Lord, no.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so that, yeah, like I said, that'll probably wouldn't go till the August meeting, and then it would go in the paper, and then,
The other thing is I've got another application here, somebody that is wanting to build, and it's, we need a variance request from what Adam says.
Are they joining a lot?
Grant Sweeten is wanting to add a deck to the front of his house. And from what Adam said, there's like all those properties along there are already built within that,
Where does he live?
down by you, doesn't it?
I don't know.
First, well, it's 2nd Avenue, 520 2nd Avenue, right up from you there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
First Avenue is right by me, but
2nd Avenue.
then the railroad track's in the way, so.
522nd Avenue is down.
Oh, yeah,
by Anthony
100s.
Shower there.
The 100s are down by me.
That's by Anthony Shower there. That's the 500 block.
So I want to say like the cells down the end, right? And then he's like
Oh, okay,
further this direction.
yeah. So, well,
What's his number?
520.
Yeah, 'cause shower is 504.
Yeah.
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 So,
Okay.
so that would have to be for the next one then, because,
Yeah, and I
Not a-
told him, because he gave it to me like at 4:30 on Thursday night, I
Oh,
said,
yeah.
you can't squeeze it in.
right,
Just, I didn't know how long this would go.
right. And then also, you know, a heads up, you know, the, city has sent that, Lou and Jessica King thing back to planning and zoning. You guys read the paper on that at all? Or-
I did not
I-
read the paper this week.
I read it.
Well,
I read the
what's in the
article.
paper isn't exactly the
Well,
way it
exactly, I
happens.
do that much, right.
Yeah, the motion she said I made wasn't even close, but, but,
Oh, wait.
but
Okay.
what I'm thinking is, well, and they're gone on vacation, so, probably just wait till they come back, I suppose, huh?
I told her whenever you turned it in, she was.
They haven't turned it in yet? Okay. But just for discussion here, if we, I imagine we can, I'm gonna recommend that, we just, you know, how do I say, a conditional use. Since the city allowed their business to be there, and it's been there for, what, 5 years at least, maybe 6, you know, we just kind of do a conditional use that they can, as long as, until they sell the place or whatever, you know, or they're gonna, you know, they're allowed that. I don't know how else to do it. I mean, we don't want to kick business out of town.
No.
Right.
You know, and I realize, you know, we've seen, you know, kind of a little upset about it. I'm talking to some of the neighbors. They said, he's not a problem. Kids in their cars are the problem that go flying by. You know, because it's so careful when he drives out of there, and, you know, so.
But wasn't there also a complaint from a resident about all the stuff that's been down the hill?
Well, he's, you know, making that area more usable for the school.
Okay, so it's actually filling in the coulee as opposed to disposing of stuff.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, he's not using it as a dump.
Well, that wasn't the impression I got when we were talking about the citizen's complaint, but I didn't hear the citizen's complaint firsthand, so we'll kind of quickly on that.
Okay.
Somebody had talked to her, but I don't know who it was.
I think it was Reese.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. So anyway,
All right, so we'll deal with that when it comes in, but we
yeah,
need a
we'll deal with it
meeting
when it comes
for
in. But
this.
like I said, I don't know what everybody thinks on that, but I mentioned to them that is what I'm going to suggest. You know, even though it's not actually a conditional use under R1, but what are you going to do? The city allowed it, so
Right.
you know, you just have to do the best you can with what you have. And if it means going outside the rules,
Well, if it fit the ordinance, we wouldn't have this discussion, so, yeah.
no.
So the only thing that I said to Larry was that a conditional use, there is no, like, with you zoning something or conditional using something, if they turn around and sell it, what is the trigger to make it go back to whatever it was before? There is
That's a
no
really good
trigger.
question. There's no trigger, and there's
nobody policing any of this.
There's no little Bible that says, we
Right.
granted this for them. And so it's,
Anyway, well, the thing is, well, and I think I talked to Brandy about this, is, you know, people used to have abstracts. A lot of people don't have abstracts anymore, because you can put it in your abstract, you know, but a
Yeah.
lot of people don't have that anymore.
or they don't think
Which
to
is-
add it to the abstract.
It's the big book, right? I think I have mine.
Well, you get a little from the
Oh,
title
okay.
company.
Well, it
Mine was big.
depends. Yeah, some are big, some are not, so, yeah.
Thick, I think.
But, you know, but with this title insurance or whatever, now you don't have those. And
Right.
it's like,
Really, I just hate that.
I have mine,
Why?
but I like the abstract.
I
But
have
there's
mine and I
also
just
What
hate
they
to
did
move
was
them on.
that
Do you
Larry
think that
revoked
would
it
be
and just add the word
a
adjoining.
plus
That's
for
what they
someone
motioned to
looking
pass.
for,
Do you want me to make a copy
like
of
when
this
they
for
go
you?
to sell?
Yeah, okay, perfect.
Okay, is that gonna
I mean, that,
be, if they're set up to be running a business out of their home?
you mean, in the zoning
So the
change, you mean?
discussion came.
See, that's our choice, we have a zoning change or a conditional use.
Right. No, I'm just saying,
Well, we
if
took
it
them
is,
out.
if we permit that, you know, if we, which I agree, if they've been doing it for 5 years,
Yeah.
we're not really in the position to say, well, no, you can't do it anymore. So we give them the conditional use, say in 2 years they sell their place. Part of the
Yeah,
draw
what's
to
the
that
trigger
place
to
is
get rid
that
of the
they
con-
can run this business it's set up to run a business.
No, and we're talking about the other way, where the conditional use permit goes away.
No, I'm just saying that, I guess it's similar to, you have rural water, but you don't have rural water. It's, you know, you can sell it for more because you have rural water, but then once you sell it, well, you don't have access to rural water.
Well,
It's that.
yeah.
So I mean, and that just falls into it's because we don't police it. So there's that instance where if the new person that moved in wants to continue to have a business out of the home, would we then grant
The thing
conditional
is,
use?
though, it was never brought to planning and zoning,
Right.
you know, so it's not planning and zoning's fault. We just have to deal with what we have and
Yeah.
try and make it the best that we can.
Okay.
Have they made a request? Have
Not
Kings
yet.
made a request?
Not yet, but,
I just-
you know, I had said at the meeting, you know, they possibly send it back to planning and zoning for a zoning change and maybe a different route out of town. But then the more I think about it, I think a conditional use, just while they're there,
Yeah.
and then it goes away. And then,
Permission to use it as they're using it.
Well,
right,
and that's,
Yes.
until they sell or.
that's still the question. Yeah, when we grant a conditional use permit, does it say while this particular person owns the property? Or do we just grant a conditional use permit and now it's there forever after?
No, it says whatever we say it says.
Okay.
So we
that's
could
the
limit
issue.
it to the Kings, to this certain, with
Right.
any other
Yeah.
conditions? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, what if he has 5 trucks? You know, I mean, is there a limit to how much traffic and how much?
Well, he doesn't really run a lot of stuff in and out of there, you know,
Right, but the conditional use
Just like a
permit,
dump truck and trailer.
right?
He
pretty
has
much.
like a
Yeah.
dually, or like a 5-ton
Yeah.
dump
He's
truck.
got an excavator, but he works on that property a lot there too, you know, so.
I just don't want it to become
Oh, right.
you know, so you have a conditional use permit to run this business, but who's to say he doesn't get a semi-truck and 5 semi-trucks and
Yeah.
a side loader and, you know,
and now there's a
side dump.
conditional
Very-
use permit.
very
in
good
hand.
point.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
very
already a
good.
bad situation, I don't wanna allow it and make it worse,
Right,
you know, so.
right, absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
And I
So
don't want it
The conditional use
to
permit
die.
now must have to say, operate the business at its current
I think within a certain,
Level.
yeah.
level, configuration.
Because those
or
roads
something.
aren't, I mean, wherever he's coming in and out of isn't made for commercial traffic anyway, really.
Well,
Can't imagine.
The thing is, it's not like he hauls a bunch of
Right.
loaded trucks in and out, you know, they're usually empty or he's pulling in his excavator.
And I just don't want the issue to die off from inaction on their part either.
Right.
Because it's become a problem, we know the neighborhood has an issue with it. I don't want it to just kind of,
No.
you know,
Yeah.
I know,
Well,
I
when they
know.
submit the application, we'll have to have this discussion again.
yep.
And you have another neighbor now that is piped up too as well,
Okay.
and is not happy with the
Okay.
situation, so
There's 2 or 3?
there's 2.
2, yeah. Where does that gal live?
And
I'm saying Jim, Kaiser also emailed us, both you and I,
Oh, we did?
yes. Yeah.
Wonder where that
So if you call that other gal that was speaking up, that'd be 3.
happened. Yeah,
That's
okay.
Lindsay.
I don't know
I
who
think
she
they're,
was.
because Reese mentioned that she had been there, and I think they're on King's side of the road, right, like, 1 or 2 in from where they come into their
Tryon's
property.
there? Okay.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
she's close on, but I believe they're on that side, I could be wrong, but I think so.
Okay.
The thing is too, and I had also talked about maybe a different route in and out, but the best route in and out is to come to that little alley, take a right, and head out Fourth Avenue. It doesn't make sense to have them take a left or else go up on Fifth Avenue and drive into town. That makes no sense, because then they're, going through the middle of town. So, this is a tough one.
Kind of goes
It's
through the middle
just
of town.
bad all the way around, yeah.
It is, it is.
Okay,
But that's something we're gonna have to deal with, so.
Mhm.
okay. But we,
And it doesn't have to be done yesterday, but it has to be dealt with, soon.
speaking of soon, we still need a meeting for
Grant,
another,
variance.
oh, so, do we need to meet to send it to hearing, or can we just,
Yes,
Because you'll want to go look at it, right?
Yeah,
absolutely,
sort of,
yeah, we
yeah.
wanna see it and everything, and.
Yeah,
We just got a new one in.
yeah,
apparently. Okay.
Thursday night, like at 4:30.
So really, it says in here that our meetings are the what, first and
First and
third,
third.
so I would guess on the 5th. I mean,
August 5th?
At what time, Liz? What works for you?
time can you make it, Liz?
Six.
I
Yeah,
told
let's-
them it was my fault.
No, no, no.
The only problem with 6 is city commission for
I
6:30.
know, I know.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, we're meeting the same night again, as they are, on the 5th?
I think a lot of, sometimes we were meeting at 7 even, but that must have been when we were opposite city commission.
Yeah, we were opposite New York City.
Yeah,
Yeah, for some reason, it's
how
on
we wound up.
it's on the first Monday in August. I don't know why, I can't remember why we did that. Oh, because of the
Because
budget.
budget, yeah.
Because of the
Okay.
budget, yeah. So at 5:30 on the,
No, 6.
6 on the 5th.
or 6 on the 5th, okay. And then, well, hopefully that's enough time.
Right?
Well, should be.
Well, this meeting lasts 40 minutes.
Not by that long.
Yeah, this one was off.
Yeah, so, but hopefully it won't be a real long meeting. Okay.
Well, and we don't have to talk about other issues at that meeting, we'll just talk about that one, and
Well,
if
unless something else comes up,
something else comes up, they'll just have to,
we might
Or
be,
the
we
Kings
might, we
get
might
back
be
from-
dealing with the Kings then.
Right, if they
then.
get back from vacation.
could be.
I don't know. I don't think so, they're gonna be gone 2 weeks.
Okay.
They won't do that. Okay. Anything else? You adjourn.
Good night, Irene.
Uh, 315?
So I have not received,
001.
I have not received any letters of interest either for Jim's position.